कैसी लगा रहा है। मुझी में रहकर मुझी से अपनी ये खोज कैसी करा रहा है। जरा तू इतना बता दे भगवन, लगी ये कैसी लगा रहा है। मुझी में रहकर मुझी से अपनी ये खोज कैसी करा रहा है। हृदय भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो प्रियतम, प्रेम भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो प्रेमी। हृदय भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो प्रियतम, प्रेम भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो प्रेमी। पुकारता मन तुम्ही को क्यों फिर, तू ही जो दिल में समा रहा है। जरा तू इतना बता दे भगवन, लगी कैसी लगा रहा है। प्राण भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो स्पंदन, नयन भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो ज्योति। प्राण भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो स्पंदन, नयन भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो ज्योति। तुम ही को लेकर तुम्हें ही ढूंढूं, नई लीला दिखा रहा है। मुझी में रहकर मुझी से अपनी ये खोज कैसी करा रहा है।
Okay. Om Shanti. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing very well. All right. So excited to recall yesterday's Murli. Maybe some of you, if you like, you can put some of the points that you remember from yesterday's Murli that Rakhi-ben read. I was actually very intrigued because many of you asked really very good questions yesterday. And so it made my job very easy, to do this manthan. And before I start, I just want to say that I'm not going to go into the significance of why Murli Manthan is important. We all understand. In fact, this morning, right? For you, it was yesterday. For us, it was this morning. Baba said that because you don't have the power to churn, you're not able to imbibe, right? And because you're not able to imbibe, you're not able to then make that effort that Baba really wants his children to make, right? And so he really gave a lot of significance to this whole aspect of churning, right? So I will share some methods, though, and then perhaps go into the detail of use yesterday's Murli as an example of how some of these things I have used. Now, what does Murli Manthan mean? I usually pull it down, with the words of Murli. And M really for me means that mastering the point. Baba says every point of knowledge You really have to understand it, right? And how will I understand? It's not a blind faith, right? We are in a school, we are studying, and so we have to ask questions of how, why, what, when. And Baba says, don't ask questions, right? So this is contradictory. But Baba says not to ask questions out of doubt, but definitely as a student, out of curiosity, out of understanding the point, I should ask the questions about a point in the Murli, right? So, like Baba said, you should increase the power to churning. Now, the question comes, how should I increase that, right? What is the method I should use? How and when can I churn the Murli points? Can I do it anytime? Do I need a person to do it? How do I do it? So, all of those questions come when that one point you hear in the Murli. So then U is for underline the point. If there is any point in the Murli that you really want to understand, you underline it and then you understand it. Basically, Baba only says it in essence sometimes, right? Then you expand it by asking all these questions. And that will help you to realize that, do I really know this point? Can I bring it into practice? And then R is to repeat the point. When you repeat something, it helps you to deepen it, right? You don't want to be superficial. A student would always do revision, right? A student would always repeat, always try to reiterate it to itself. And so that is why it is important to repeat the points. And L is living the point. So now, once I have understood the point, once I've repeated the point enough, then it becomes natural, right? Like we say, awareness of the soul. I am a soul, I am a soul. In the beginning, even Brahma Baba practiced it so much. But then at the end, he was just a point. He didn't have to make any effort, right? So you become an embodiment, so to speak. You start living that point. You start to bring it into practical. And you have to remind yourself sometimes, but that's okay, right? And then I is really, now you have become an example, if you will, of that point. You have become an embodiment of that point. You have imbibed that point to the extent that it is like your sanskar now, if you will. So this is what Murli Manthan is. And some of the churning methods that I use, and I'm not saying that I'm expert on this or anything, or this is the entire list. I'm sure you all have your own creative style and your own ways of churning Murli. But these are some of the things that I use. So I will just share. One is question answer format. So from the Murli, I will remove all the questions, whatever questions are Baba is asking, or I can ask, and then I'll give the answer for that question as well from the Murli. And then there are differences and contrast that Baba speaks, right? Sometimes Baba will say, oh, you should have a lot of pictures. And sometimes Baba will say, you should have no pictures, right? Sometimes Baba will say, you should listen to a lot of songs. Like yesterday's Murli Baba said, you should constantly sing the songs of God's praise and all your attainments. And sometimes Baba says, you don't need any song, right? You don't need to sing any song. So this is contrast, right? But it is always dependent on the context, right? So what is the context in which Baba is saying? So that is one kind of contrast. But also sometimes Baba speaks about the differences, like in yesterday's Sakar Murli, he was speaking about the difference between God, Shiva, being the supreme soul, and then Sri Krishna being the first prince of Satyug, right? So that is a difference. So that is a contrast between God and deity. So those kinds of, or soul and supreme soul, or Satyug and Kalyug. So those kinds of differences can be used as churning method. Flow chart for Murli points, because every point is connected to the next point, and there is no better teacher like Baba, right? He really goes step by step by step by step, especially with Avyakt Murlis. Yesterday's Murli, you will see that how from that big idea of being highest on high, he takes us to that little tiny point that the obstacle is considering the old sanskar to be mine, or having that I, or having that ego, or little those things Baba came to, right? So you can draw a flow chart of that Murli points. Sometimes you can just checking points, like Baba said yesterday. Check whether you are accepting things that Maya sanskar that are emerging. Are you accepting those, or you realize that they don't belong to you, right? So it's a checking point. Then sometimes Baba will praise. He says, praise God. What are the different praises of Baba? Yesterday's Murli, he said he is the one whose company is the best company. most beautiful, most elevated, most imperishable company, right? The color of that company. So that is praise of God's company, right? And then sometimes in Baba's Murli, there will be examples and proverbs, right? Yesterday, Sakar Murli, there was Kiski dabi rahe dhool mein, kiski raja khai, right? Somebody's will be buried and somebody's the king will eat. That means taxes will take away the money, right? So those kinds of things you can churn from the Murli. What does it mean for me and how am I using it? Sometimes you can also remove the points which are related to four subjects, right? Our four subjects are Gyan, Yog, Dharana, Seva, right? Knowledge, yoga, dharana is inculcation of divine virtues and service. So related to dharana, what did Baba said? Related to service, what did Baba said? Related to knowledge, what did he say? So you can make 4 sections in your notebook and try to jot down points for every subject. Drawing, some of you might be very creative and very artistic, and you might love to draw things. So you can use drawing and mapping and those kinds of things. I also love to understand the stories that come in the Murli because those really help us to realize the significance of what Baba is saying. And then I know some of you really are very good singers and you sing songs and you write poems. And so you can use that as one of the methods to churn, right? Just go into the woods or go for a walk or go in nature and, create your creativity by churning the Murli that you heard in the morning. And these are few other points that I thought could be used, like, points of self-respect that came in today's Murli. Usually the Yad Pyar that Baba gives, in Avyakt Murli has all the points of self-respect. What is a different topic of the class that you can take out from the Murli? So yesterday's Murli, I thought the whole topic of sanskars, can come up very easily and you can do one big class, right? A 1 hour lecture you can do on sanskars. And then what was your favorite point? Perhaps you can write like 3 or 4 points and just churn on those points. You don't have to go through any of this. Just write your favorite point and then churn that. Or if that is also too much, then just write one point that really touched your heart, and you nodded your head and you felt, yeah, this is what it is. And then you just think about that point. You remember that point throughout the day. And that is also, a very good thing to do. Yeah. So if anybody has a question, you can stop me and ask me, right? You know that you can always stop me and ask me questions. So then I will come back to the yesterday's Murli. And I didn't make slides. I just did a rough thing on my notebook. Sorry for my handwriting or if it's not clear, but I will walk you through this, right? So first thing Baba said that you are the highest of all and you are the holiest of all. And so he explained why he's calling us the highest of all. And he started with the eternal period. He said, when you are in the soul world, when you're in your eternal form, which is anadi. Anadi means na jiska ant hai na adi hai, right? So no beginning, no end. This is that time period when I, the soul, I am in the eternal form. And you remember that Baba calls here is the inverted tree of souls. That means the seed is up and then there is a trunk and then branches and right. You can draw like that. I didn't do a very good job here, but basically you understand that here I am. If you see yourself as close as to Baba, and if you have all the how many ever souls are there, then you know that you are the closest one. And he said, because you are closest, that is the reason why you are highest and elevated of all. This closeness in the soul world is what makes me most elevated in this period. Then he said, okay, now you come into the cycle in the human form, which is in the golden age. This is, he called this as the beginning of the cycle, right? So this is Adi. Beginning is Adi or original. This is my original. This is innate. This is original. Yesterday, some of you had a lot of confusion. So that's why I took this a little bit in depth. to understand that this is the beginning of the cycle where I, the soul, come into a human form for the first time on the planet Earth, right? And so Baba said, you are most elevated here. Why? Because you are not just a pure soul, but you also have pure body, and you also have pure, you're in this world which has pure matter. So this is what makes us elevated and highest. And then the second reason he gave is because you're full of all attainments, right? That is why you are elevated and highest. And of course, all Baba just said mind, body, wealth, and people, right? So I did not expand this, but if you're really churning, you can expand this also, right? Like deities, mind is so clean and so clear, they'll never have any negative thought. Imagine a mind, never ever any negative thought, right? They have a body, the body never aches, no headache. Have you ever seen a deity holding head and sitting like this? Oh my God, my head is aching today, or my body is aching today. No, never, right? So the body is perfect. The hair is perfect, right? Everything is perfect in the body. The wealth, you have never seen a deity begging for money, right? So deities have unlimited wealth, right? And people, the relationships, the father, the mother, the brother, the guru, everybody, they have a very good relationship, right? So Baba said all of this, you're full of all attainments. There is nothing lacking here. And that is why he says, as a deity status, which is the most elevated status in the golden age, makes you elevated and highest. Then he says, okay, now come down to the middle period of the cycle, right? And he reminded us that yes, the founders are there, the fathers of souls are there, the great souls are there, and they have pure soul perhaps because they're coming for the first time from the soul world. But pure body, no, they don't have that, right? And so Baba says, you are even elevated and highest in your worthy worship form because people build your idols, they build temples to you, they do your worship with accuracy, with following all the rituals, all the custom systems, right? And with devotion, with bhavana. So that's why Baba said, therefore, you are most elevated and highest, even in this worthy of worship form, right? So that's the middle period. And then Baba says, now come to the end of the cycle where you come on the confluence age and you become the most elevated Brahmin soul. Why? Because you are taking direct sustenance from God, the Father. You're taking direct study from God, the teacher. You're receiving Srimad from Baba. You are playing an elevated part, being helper of in God's task of establishment. And I, the soul, at this point in time, in the entire cycle, I have the highest aim, right? And Baba said, your highest aim is to become complete pure, right? Complete purity. And he will explain that in the further thing. But that's what he said. These things make you highest and elevated, right? And so he really made this very clear for us yesterday that why my children are the most elevated and highest, not just in the eternal form, but also in the deity form, also in the worthy of worship form, and also as Brahmin, who will then become angel. So, five forms Baba remembered, and in those five forms, we play very, very elevated role. Hmm? And so Baba said, do you have intoxication of this part that you play in the beginning, middle, and end? I just wrote BME, which means beginning, middle, and end, right? And that intoxication will then give rise to your inner self-respect, right? I don't have to be dependent on external gratification or external things that I receive, right? I just have this awareness who I am in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end of the cycle, and boom, my self respect comes up, right? But then also, Baba said, it's not ego, it's pure self respect, it's pure pride. You cannot call it as ego, right? And of course, now you can expand on this. Baba did not, but when you are churning, right, you can think what ego is and what is the difference between ego and self-respect. How would you know, and so you can describe these three terms like de bhan hai, de ahankar hai, de uh, abhiman hai, right? All of these terms. So de bhan really means that I'm aware of the body, right? So when I see the person, I'll see his fat, his thin, He's fair, he's dark, he's Indian, he's American, right? So this is Debhan, body consciousness, nothing much. And then this is De Abhiman. hmm. So that means now I have been influenced by the vices, by the body consciousness. And so anger, lust, ego, attachment, all of that has influenced me. I'm affected by them. And so that is why there is this Deabhiman. And Deyankar means there is some skill or quality or perhaps any power that you as an individual has. And there is ego of that skill that you have or that power perhaps that you have. So that is ahankar, that I am something, right? So sometimes we also have ego of being a BK, but really that shouldn't be there, right? You can have pure pride, Baba said, but not ego. Hmm? So that's how you do. And then he said, you are holiest of all. And he explained why he calls us the holiest of all. He says, because the foundation is that you have an aim of having complete purity. Now, complete purity, Baba explained that, it complete purity is really has a very refined definition. But according to yesterday's Murli, Baba defined it as absence of impure thoughts at the level of mind, intellect, and dreams, right? I have no impurity in my mind, in my intellect, and in my dreams. So if I am like that, then that will make me complete pure. And Baba said, yeah, the world thinks this is impossible, but you make it possible. You make it easy. It is not difficult for you, right? Why it's not difficult for us? Because we have courage. He said, you have courage. And once I take that one little step of courage, that leap of faith, allows Baba, the Father, to help me millionfold times, right? And so therefore, it is easy for me to become a true Vaishnav, right? And again, Baba said, this is a point of self-respect. You are true Vaishnavs. And so therefore, you're holiest of all, he said. Right? Now, another thing Baba said that really helps us to have complete purity is the color of the company of the Father. He said, if you are colored by the color of the Father's company, then you don't have to worry, right? You just maintain that company, companionship, and be with Baba all the time, because that color is fast color, right? When you play Holi, what do you think? Uh, uh, we might not be playing now, but you remember your childhood days, right? We would think कि ये color निकलना ही नहीं चाहिए, इतना पक्का गहरा रंग लगाना है मुझे, right? So fast होना चाहिए color, imperishable, beautiful, best, he said. And he said it's the elevated color. And so Baba said, when you are in the color of the company of the Father, then you will have complete purity. That will also help us to be true Vaishnavs, and that will make us holiest of all. Now, Baba did remember double foreigners, and he asked them, do you feel lonely? Do you feel that you're alone? Mm. And these days, because of quarantine, I was just chatting with some Brahmins today here that it is difficult for people everywhere, actually, right, to experience that quarantine period when there's no one around you to talk to. You really can't do much. You have to be in one room. And so this whole aspect of loneliness can come in, right? Now you have to ask yourself, this is also a checking point. Do I feel lonely? What do you all think? Do you all feel lonely? Yeah? If you can put it in the chat box, I would love to see your answers. What do you all feel? Hmm? Do you feel lonely? Baba said, I kind of was churning on this, and for me, I think that loneliness comes if there is lack of an experience of a particular relationship. So then I have to ask myself, what relationship I'm not experiencing, because then that relationship will pull me, right? That relationship will attract me towards itself. So that is one thing that I should check, that is there any relationship that I'm not experiencing with Baba, right? But Baba in the Murli yesterday said that loneliness क्यों है? He said, yes, you are companions. You do feel, You are Baba's companion. Because if anybody were to ask you, who is your companion? You would raise your hands and say, Baba is my companion, right? And then Baba said, but that's not enough. That's not enough to have him as your companion. He said, you have to be combined, right? So either see yourself as Shiv Shakti or see yourself as those two people who are combined. I don't know what that thing is called, but some children are born where they are combined. So I'm stuck with Baba like that. I can't move without Baba. So if I feel that way, then the experience, how would I know that I'm in the combined form? He said, you will feel your life is very loving. You will love your life. You will want to live more. You would not feel कि मैं तो तंग आ गई हूँ इस जीवन में से, इस जीवन में कुछ रखा नहीं है, इससे अच्छा तो क्या फायदा ऐसे जी, right? So these will not be your thoughts, but you'll love your life. And then your life will be very entertaining, he said, and free from difficulty. So if you see these three signs, that means you are experiencing combined form with Baba. However, he also made it very clear that sometimes there is separation. You don't feel combined. And then you have to ask yourself, what is the reason for this separation? Right? Because that separation is difficult. It makes things difficult for me because now I have to do everything by myself. Baba is not with me. But if Baba is with me, then Baba will do it, right? Or Baba will be the Karan Karavan Har and I'm just a medium he will use. But so you can again think, what is separating me from Baba? Why I'm not always experiencing? It could be desires, it could be some kind of discontentment, it could be some unfavorable scenes of drama, whatever it can be. But you should at least know and acknowledge it. And then tell Baba, Baba, this is the reason. My eyes are pulled to this. I'm attracted to this. I waste my time. I do this. So there is separation, right? So whatever that is. But Baba said it's, and which is also a form of carelessness and laziness, he said, right? You become careless, you lose your attention. And so Baba said that is one of the big reasons. But also he said old sanskars emerge. And Baba went on into the depth to kind of make us realize that why the old sanskar, one, should not emerge, and two, if they emerge, I should not accept them. Right? Right? He said why they should not emerge is because, why should they not emerge? Who will answer this?
Uh, they should not emerge because you are a Brahmin soul now and you are imbibing Baba's knowledge. So if you're
Okay.
imbibing Baba's knowledge and you're working on your own transformation and then you're allowing the old sanskars to come in, then you are just playing a double game and you're confused.
Okay. What else? Died alive. Renuben said, yes, that's the answer. Because I've died alive. Imagine if somebody dies, would he carry any of that old habit or old thing with him in the new birth? No. So Baba says that I am now died alive. Means I'm dying alive. This is my dying alive kind of marjiva janam hai. So if I've died alive, then that means this is my new birth. So this is my new Brahmin birth, right? So I have to always remind myself, I'm at the conference age. I'm at the conference age. I'm a Brahmin. I'm a Brahmin, right? So that is one reason why he said they should not emerge to begin with. But if they emerge, then he said, do not accept them, right? Remind yourself that they do not belong to me. They belong to Ravan's kingdom. They belong to Maya. They don't belong to me. They don't belong to my father. So what is not my father's is not mine, right? So like that, Baba explained. And then he went on and on. Of course, I'm not going to go into too much details about it. But you see how you can churn, right? And you can go into the depths of that. And then old sanskars. There was a lot of discussion and questions that were being asked yesterday. So I thought I will create this slide where the old sanskar versus new sanskars versus the original sanskars, right? And there is more to this list. But just in general, confluence aged sanskars are called the new sanskars or they're also called as Brahmin sanskars. Hmm? Excuse me. And I'm coming from this age, right? So iron aged sanskars are the old sanskars or the Ravan sanskars. And the old sanskars are based on the algae, right? Anger, lust, greed, attachment, and ego. And so all of these are the old sanskars. Now, if any of these sanskars emerges, do you see anything common between new sanskars and old sanskars? It's a big list to read and to match, but it's very clear, I feel, right, that nothing matches, right? Can you all read or it's too small?
No, we can read. Thank you, sister.
Okay, so you can see that nothing is same. Hmm? The old sanskar is I'm reacting, I am frustrated, I am confused, I am fluctuating all the time, I am I'm not violent, but let's say I'm becoming lazy, I'm shyful, I am very delicate in my nature, I'm always depending on somebody, I have preferences, I have likes, dislikes, good, bad, duality, right? All of that is Iron Age sanskars. And the new sanskars are where I have purity, I have peace, I have power, I have responsibility, compassion, courage, unity, tolerance, happiness, love, all of that, right? And so Brahmin sanskars, new sanskars, are very much similar to the golden age sanskars, right? But then Brahmin sanskars, there is addition of God sanskars here, whereas deity sanskars are might not have some of the God sanskars. If you really go into the depth of understanding, for example, um, as Brahmin, we are merciful. As a deity, I don't have to be merciful. I'm not merciful on any, I don't have to show mercy on anybody in golden age, right? So as a deity, I don't have that. As a Brahmin, I have patience, for example, but deities don't need patience. One time I was sitting with Sister Kala in the dining hall, and we were talking about God's power of love. You know, how can He love so much, and to that extent that He loves. And I was saying, Papa really has a lot of power of acceptance and tolerance and patience. And then she just asked me, do you think Baba has needs to have patience? And I was like, well, maybe not. I don't know. So but I kind of got the hint that she was saying that God doesn't need patience. His love is so unconditional, so pure. He doesn't need to tolerate us, right? He's not tolerating us, for example, right? So that is what we say, that we have to have patience. But then in golden age, deities don't need patience. For whom? They don't have to tolerate anything, right? We have to forgive. So we have forgiveness, for example, as one of the sanskar. But as deities, they don't need forgiveness as a sanskar, right? So you can see now, there is a very minute difference, but just a tiny bit. But this is how you kind of, and I can go on and on for this one, but I won't because I have other things to show. But you can see how you can take just one topic of sanskars and then dwell deep into it, right? You can expand this list and you can make it even more bigger. But this is just to show you an example how you can churn and think about these things, right? Now, the second thing I was also talking about was the points of self respect. Who remembers some of the points of self respect that came in yesterday's Murli? Hmm? What any point of self respect you remember from yesterday's Murli? Highest and holiest, yes, very good. I am the highest of all, that's one. I am holiest of all, second. Anything else? I am combined form with Baba, right? Very good. और भी है. I am pure. Okay. Okay. Others? No? So here's the list. He also said, I am Almighty Authority and your Master Almighty Authority, right? And then Baba said, your most elevated Brahmin soul. So I tell myself, I'm the most elevated Brahmin soul, the top knot, right? I am God's companion. That is also my self-respect, right? Intoxication at the I am God's companion. I am in God's company, right? So these were some of the points of self-respect. And then this is a big list, and this list is again not extensive. You can have many more questions from the Murli, but just in brief, why Baba calls me the highest and holiest, we already kind of discussed that. And then what are different attainments of golden age at birth, right? He said mind, body, wealth, and people. What is difference between self-respect and ego, right? He said this is pure intoxication, whereas this is not related with the self. This swa se related, and this is not related with the swa, means the innate self. And then what is Baba's definition of complete purity? Absence of impure thoughts at the level of dreams. Why is the company of the Father important in becoming holy, right? I already discussed this one. How would I know I am in my combined form? We already discussed this one. Life will be loving and entertaining and free from difficulty. What songs should I be singing? Of Baba's praise and of my attainments. Which weak thoughts should not emerge? Which weak thoughts should not emerge? Who would answer this question?
I can't do this.
I cannot do this, or it is no, no, no. Yesterday's Murli, Rakiban.
Okay.
From yesterday's Murli, what was the weak thought that Baba said should not emerge? No one?
पता नहीं होगा या नहीं होगा. Was this?
Right. That was one of the thought. I don't know if I will become complete or not. Right. That was one weak thought Baba said should not emerge. Instead, there should be a thought that I have become this many times before and I have to become this again. So this was the anchor thought that Baba gave us, right? But also there in the middle of the Murli, there was this, when Baba was explaining about laziness and carelessness, he was saying that, oh, it is okay. Uh, People do this little bit. It happens anyways. Who is seeing me? Nobody can read my mind. Nobody, it's not coming in my actions. You know that whole paragraph? He said those are again weak thoughts. That's the language of the ones who have weak aim. So Baba explained about aim can be powerful, and if the aim is powerful, then you will say, I will become completely pure. But if the aim is weak, then the language would be, it's okay, little bit happens, not a big deal like that. So then Baba also talked about how can I make impossible possible? Impossible, the world thinks to live a pure life is impossible. And Baba said you can make it possible with courage and Father's help. What does Bab Dada not like? This is very easy. Everyone should know. What does Bab Dada not like? Hmm?
Laziness.
Laziness. Okay. What
Lack
else?
of pure commitment.
Like from yesterday's Murli. Baba said, Baba is a father. As a parent, what does he doesn't like his children doing?
Labor.
Labor. Very beautiful. Yes. So Baba says, मुझे पसंद नहीं है जब मेरे बच्चे मेहनत करते हैं, labor करते हैं, difficulty face करते हैं. So Baba does not like that. He said, Bab Dada does not like to see his children laboring or facing difficulty. What is it that I should not accept? Is Maya's old sanskars, right? If Maya comes, I should not accept that. What is my anchor thought from today's Murli was that I have become this many times and I will become this again. That's my anchoring thought. What touched my heart from today's Murli? That's individual. You can share whatever you like, right? So you can, and there can be many, many more questions. But yeah, that's what I feel is yesterday's Murli was all about. Really, Baba was seeing us as the most elevated ones, most holiest of all. And so, do I see myself like that? Do I have that intoxication? Do I feel that pride? Do I feel that is my self-respect? So you have to ask yourself, how do you feel when you look at yourself in the mirror of your heart? Hmm? Or even in the physical mirror, right? When you see yourself, how do you feel? Hmm? So you can check that, right? So I'm going to stop there. And if you have any questions, you want to discuss anything, you want to ask anything, most welcome to do that.
So thank you, sister. I just wanted to add that you have explained in a very nice way how to query and how to use that query, but to finally reach that point of no questions. So I like the connection that you've beautifully explained, because I think we all need this. We are used to being programmed that unless we think carefully, we will not reach that point of knowledge. Like what you have taught us today is really, really very interesting, because I think especially to gain the full knowledge, it's really relevant that we ask those questions. Otherwise, we're just pretending that there are no questions. Oh, yes, I do. But it doesn't, deep down, you still have those questions. So I think it's very, very relevant. And thank you, sister, for explaining it so well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
There is very wonderful. You have explained the churning method, and when I just I got the feeling that you are means as a student. We are all students, but when जो क्लास में होते हैं ना कि एक स्टूडेंट पढ़ाई में एकदम बहुत अच्छा है, यानी कि मिस you are done the miss how lesson you are miss churning, and I thought that I got the feeling that I am not doing anything. That feeling I got.
I'm sure you're doing something. Otherwise, you wouldn't get up 5:30 a.m. in the morning and sit here for the Murli class, right?
Churning that revision that I am also, suppose I am student, I am studying, but I am studying, doing studying, but I am not doing revision. That revision I am not doing. So that
so it's good. It's good you realize. It's good that you know. Yeah.
And tell me, sister, ki that revision. Suppose as a good student, so how what is the better time to do the revision?
So usually, whenever there are 2-3 times when you can do this. One is early morning after Amrit Vela. If you don't have that loving sleep, which I think you all don't, you all are up after Amrit Vela. So, but that's also like after you do this Murli class, right? You have some time to think about Murli points. And you don't have to do the extensive work like I showed today. I just gave you different examples. You can just pick one point, and then when you're in the shower or when you're driving your car, this is our free time basically. Right? When I don't use my intellect, that is my free time. So when I'm doing my dishes, when I am doing my laundry, when I am doing, driving my car, or when I am sitting in nature, I'm on going for a walk, I'm exercising. Those times are really nice to think about the points and churn and then connect. Yesterday Baba said this, today he said this. So then you join the points. That is what churning is all about. You think about those points, right? And you connect the dots. So there can be different times, but if you have free time, you can do it in the evening also, before you go to bed or something like that. Yeah.
And this revision is continuous revision is we have to summarize, no?
Sorry?
Suppose in Murli, these points we have to churn, to do the revision, to continuously we have to do the revision.
You have to do the revision, yes.
Yeah.
So continuously you should do the revision. That is true. So sometimes, I will take out my old notebooks and I'll just flip the pages. And usually when I'm in flight, I like to do that. I used to not do that before, but since I started to, be sometimes like I go for drive or something like that, then I just have a paper and then I put it on I'm not suggesting you do this, but I just keep it in front of me and I just look at the things. Or at night before going to bed, I'll just flip some old books, notebooks, and I feel each one of you should have a notebook and pen. Do you all have it? I know
Yeah,
this is new technology and many of you are IT connected people and you might not like to have notebook, but I always feel, as a student, we should have a pen and a notebook because,
I am always used to write points, and I have three books. When I came to Gyan, I 2 3 books I have just written. But
hmm,
one thing I tell you really, didn't go through that points. I don't really.
yeah, that's the problem with Brahmins. You have to revise it. And you can't say, oh, I will revise it tomorrow. Today, you revise today's points. So
Okay.
before you sit for evening meditation, so for example, say at 7 o'clock, you're going to sit for meditation, right? Evening meditation. So then just 10 minutes or 5 minutes before you read those points, you
Okay.
revise those points. That's one good time. And then before you go to bed, you revise those points. So then in the morning, you can or read a blessing and then you sit in the meditation and then do your meditation on that blessing. So there are different ways you can think and churn about it.
Okay. Thank you. Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti, Om Shanti. So I
Well
see.
defined, Tina Ben. The way you explained right now, and I'm going back to the good old days when I started regularly going to the Sakar Murli class. I used to keep a notebook, and I now after the lockdown thing is gone, it's all either on some WhatsApp messages that I keep on putting the points, and then I get lost in these messages.
Yeah,
And today I'm getting that I read the Murli yesterday and I've forgotten the points myself. So
yeah,
that's somewhere I'm acknowledging, yes, this is a flip and this is a gap that I need to bridge in, go back to my pen and my book
yeah.
and
एक दिन
start
में तो
noting
भूलनी
it
नहीं
down.
चाहिए, right?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल and that's what I got for myself right now, that वो pen और book का कितना ज्यादा importance है, because
Hmm.
that you remember the time when you're writing through your pen on the paper, I
Yeah, you
remember it
remember.
very well that this is what I have written, but this technology, whatever points I must have written, I will forget the next day.
Hmm.
No?
Yeah,
Yeah, sister, I would just like to add what Rakhi Ben and Sister Tina, you've just said. Actually, it's true. When you pick up a pen and you write it yourself, the energy that is going from your brain to your body, it's a mind, body, soul connection. And when you actually physically write it, I think it gets much more ingrained into
yeah.
your system. That's the whole idea about this notebook and pen. It's really useful, and thank you for reminding everyone.
Yes. So Renuben is asking to read the blessing and churn on it. The blessing was, may you be an easy yogi who travels to all three worlds in a second with the vehicle of your intellect. Babdada invites you children to put on the switch of your thoughts, to come to the subtle region and to take the rays of the sun, the moonlight of the moon, and to have a picnic and to have fun and play games. For this, all that is required is double refined petrol for the vehicle of your intellect. Double refined means to have the intoxication of the incorporeal faith that I am a soul, a child of God. Secondly, to have the intoxication of all relationships in the corporeal form. This intoxication and happiness will make you into easy yogis and you will continue to travel all three worlds. So, what Baba is saying basically, children, use one thought that now I want to be with Baba. So, that is the power. You turn on the switch of the thoughts, right? And then he says, come to the subtle region. So, subtle region में कौन मिलते हैं हमसे?
Baap
Subtle
Dada?
region, बाप दादा, तो दोनों मिलते हैं. So he's saying you will take the rays from the sun, which is Shiv Baba, and the moonlight of the moon, which is Brahma Baba. So I am taking rays from both Bap and Dada, right? And then I can enjoy, I can play with Baba, I can hug Baba, I can embrace him, I can, do whatever. So you play, you have fun, you have picnic, you have games, whatever you want to do. Baba is saying to come to the subtle region, what you need is double refined petrol. Now, what is double refined petrol? He explained. One is to have the faith that I am a child of Supreme Godfather. I am a soul and I'm child. So when I am a soul, automatically I am able to free myself from all the bondages, right? There is freedom instantly and I can travel. So that is one. And second, he says, experience all relationships with Baba in the corporeal form. When I experience all relationships with Baba, then nothing of this world will pull me. No relationship of this old world will pull me down. So if nothing is pulling me down, naturally I am going in the upwards direction, right? So Baba is calling that as double refined petrol. Double refined means to have the intoxication of the incorporeal faith. I am a soul, a child of God. And secondly, to have the intoxication of all relationships in the corporeal form. This intoxication and happiness will make you into easy yogis, and you will continue to travel to all three worlds. So whenever I want to be in the corporeal land, here in the physical form, I can be. When I want to be in the subtle region, when I can go to subtle region. When I want to be in the incorporeal world, I can be there. So ये sakari, akari और nirakari, ये three worlds है, and I can go anywhere, anytime, if I have that quality of intellect which uses double refined petrol. क्यों बोलते हैं? क्योंकि जो एरोप्लेन होता है ना, एरोप्लेन में you can't put normal petrol, right? The regular petrol that you put in car or trucks or things like that, you can't put that in aeroplane. It needs double refined petrol. Only then it can go high, it can fly. So if my intellect is just in this old world, regular thoughts, it won't help. I should have a faithful thought that I am a soul, I'm Baba's child, and then I can take off. Yeah, Renuben, is that clear?
Om Shanti. Thank you, sister. Very clear.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay.
Sister, you told about those old sanskars, right? That is algae, that is anger, lust, greed, and the other one is E?
Attachment and ego.
Okay. Sorry.
Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. If it's easy in Hindi, then it is this. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar, which is anger, lust, greed, ego, and attachment.
Didi, I just wanted to ask, jitna bhi every day we take up a swaman, like, I always try to, usually basically not to boast about myself, I really have a lot of patience, like, in spite of it, I take a swaman of not getting angry, right? But ऐसे जो हमारे जो लौकिक जीवन में है, जो we are in a family, like in this, not unlike you people, it tests our patience to the maximum. So what do we do? I tried a lot of everything, lot of
I think your
rolling your
swaman
time.
you're carrying is wrong. You should not say, I will not get angry. That is wrong. Because the mind does not understand the language of negation. So you should say, I will remain very peaceful today. I am child of the ocean of peace, and peace is my innate quality, and I will exuberate peace and I will radiate energy of peace. That's all. That's all I have to do. You have to tell your mind what. If you say, I will not get angry, mind कैसे read करता है? I will get angry. Not read नहीं करता है mind. Mind does not understand the language of negation.
Okay. And suppose like जैसे hot discussions होता रहता है, then at that moment immediately my mind I can tell no I will not get angry. वो भी नहीं करना चाहिए?
नहीं, wrong है, नहीं.
Okay.
बाबा teaches us. बाबा क्या बोलते हैं? आप मुरली सुनो. कोई भी मुरली में बाबा ऐसे नहीं कहते कि मुझे गुस्सा नहीं करना है. बाबा कहते हैं मैं शांत स्वरूप आत्मा हूँ. कैसे सिखाता है बाबा हमें?
Okay.
मैं शांत स्वरूप आत्मा हूँ. ये सिखाता है. I am peaceful soul. ये सिखाता है. कभी बाबा ने सिखाया I am not an angry soul. कोई मुरली में है ये लाइन? I am not an angry soul.
So that means
I don't know
should
your
say
name, sister.
I'm Sandhya Didi. That means I must say I'm determined to be peaceful today. No, I should not take. I take up. I shall determine not to get angry today. I should not tell like that, right?
नहीं, फिर गलत है।
No, that's why
फिर से
वो
गलत।
ऐसा नहीं कहना चाहिए।
नहीं कहना, हाँ, ये नहीं बोल, आपको बस सिंपल, I am peaceful soul and I will radiate peace. I am peaceful soul. Hot discussion हो रहा है तो क्या हुआ? I am peaceful soul. You tell yourself, I am peaceful soul. I am peaceful soul. You remind yourself like that.
Okay, this small
And
point made.
especially Sandhya Ben, right?
Yes.
When you do Mansa Seva, you donate peace. I know you will say this sounds so contradictory. I don't have it, but that is what works. Because what will happen then? You will absorb from Baba rays of peace because you need to donate. You need to cooperate with others. You have to give the power of peace to others. So you will take from Baba that power. Unless and until you take, you cannot give. So you will continue to take, and you will, when you continue to give, you will become peaceful. I can guarantee you that. ठीक है? Experiment करो इसके साथ. Experiment and see. Try and see.
So when I take this, when I go to Sakash, I just tell मैं सभी आई एम टेकिंग ऑल द शक्तिज फ्रॉम, मैं बाबा से सब शक्तियों का वरदान ले रही हूँ और इसे मैं तड़पती हुई आत्माएं, डरी हुई आत्माएं और असंतुष्ट आत्माओं को दान दे रही हूँ. इज दिस ऑल राइट? और मैं पूरे विश्व को दान दे रही हूँ बिकॉज अगेन तड़पती.
Yeah, you being unlimited. You can say that if you know somebody in particular, that's fine. It's not wrong, but that is also limited. You be unlimited and give to everyone.
Okay. You open
and then
my eyes today.
Baba is using you. It's not you who is giving it. Baba is using you to, and then he will give it to whoever he wants. So you are not creating karmas then.
Okay. You opened my eyes, sister. Thank you.
Baba opened your eyes, right? He made you ask the question, right? So it's good.
Just to share a practical example, the way you said that mind doesn't accept negative and it will always take it otherwise. So I have this experience that I know a friend of mine who is very agitated, very angry for every damn thing. Expectations are so high that you know that this will get agitated. So initially I used to get very angry. What are you doing? And then I started telling, that's the person's sanskar. He's a peaceful soul. And I saw that entire relationship turned around. Because there was a lot of peace that was getting radiated. And then, that anger was, I will not say that anger khatam ho gaya, but the perspective to look at it transformed. And there was no agitation from my side. And from his side also, that anger level started reducing.
Right. It helps. Yeah.
So I could see that, okay, you don't use that word, he should not get angry, just say he's a peaceful soul. This really worked.
Yeah, Sandhya Ben, I used to also get very angry, and especially I was the first one in Gyan, and my younger brother, although he was younger, he would behave as if he's elder. He'd always say something negative about Baba. I would instantly irritate me. And I was it was my first year, I believe, just very new in Gyan. And I used to get very angry. And then I went to my teacher and told her that I'm coming to Om Shanti and my mother will tell me that Om Shanti mein jaake yahi sikh rahe ho. Gussa hi karna hai, to fir kyun ja rahi ho? And I was the first one, so I had to create an example for the family. So she told me the same thing that I told you. Just donate peace. Absorb peace from Baba and donate, and then it will go. And I can see that it practically really worked like magic. So try that, because I've heard you saying this 2-3 times. I attend the class every day, right? So I've heard you this saying 2-3 times. You're having problem with patience and anger, but try this one. This will really help. Yeah?
Okay, one more situation, sister. You're attending a webinar, right? And you are unmute.
You're not muted, you're unmuted and you're speaking. Suddenly a person comes inside, he knocks the door, bashes, and he just screams like that. Then what should be your this thing? Because there are so many people around you, who are listening. So what should be your reaction? Again, you have to, then you really tend to boil, or you
Like
really
you
tend to
are,
speak.
like you are a participant, or you are the one who's organizing?
No, participant, but you're open, you have unmuted to answer something. Okay,
Okay.
suddenly a person comes inside and he shouts. So what should your reaction be?
Nothing. Be peaceful. That's the scene in drama. He's testing, the drama is allowing him, he's using him, you can say, instrument to test your patience level. So it's an opportunity for you to see कितने पानी में हैं हम, कितना peace accumulate किया है.
लेकिन
Right?
इतना बुरा लगता है ना जब when you are unmuted yourself and that
Yeah, I agree. You
shouting is
immediately, yeah, I agree. You immediately mute yourself. So you do whatever is practical first. You mute yourself and you apologize that I'm extremely sorry. I was not expecting this, but there is some problem. And so I'm extremely sorry about this. So you apologize to the members of that webinar, and that's it. It's not your mistake. But if you react, then that is your mistake.
okay,
If
thank you.
somebody else is under the influence of anger, you have to have mercy on them. जैसे अगर कोई शराब पी कर आएगा, आप उसके ऊपर गुस्सा थोड़ी होंगे. He is under the influence of alcohol. At that time, you would have mercy. हाँ, जब वो होश में आएगा, तब आप उससे बात करोगे. But when he is under the influence of alcohol, you कितना भी आप उसको कुछ बोलो, उसको कुछ फर्क पड़ेगा? So like that, Baba says, when somebody is under the influence of anger, under the influence of greed, under the influence of ego, under the influence of attachment, whatever, you just have to have mercy on that individual. And it can be hard if you think, कि ये मेरा relative है, she's my daughter, she should behave like, then that is ego. Your ego is clashing because now you are identifying yourself with the role. But as a soul, if you say that soul is under the influence of anger, I have to have mercy on that soul and give him a lot of peace. And that will help that soul to become quiet. And when they are in normal state of mind, then perhaps if you have opportunity, you can go and speak to them. But otherwise, you really can't do much. And it is not your fault. You don't have to take it upon yourself personally. But if you react and if you start shouting, then that is mistake.
But self-respect also comes in way.
Yeah, so self-respect means you explain to them that next time whenever I'm in the webinar, either I will lock the door or you do not enter at that. You try to make your point clear. You convey, right? You communicate.
Okay.
So you do everything that you need to do. I'm not saying you don't take the right steps. You do what you need to do, but don't react. That's what I'm saying. Be peaceful. Maintain your dignity. You tell yourself, I'm going to handle this situation with grace, with dignity,
Thank
as
you.
Baba's child.
Okay,
Right?
thank you. Yeah.
Don't forget you are Baba's child. That will help.
Inaben, in the interest of time, shall we take on the meditation?
I think we should just do a silence, right? 1 minute and then end.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just take a moment of silence. And you yourself can create a powerful thought, travel to the supreme world, touch Baba's light, absorb it, and then come down. Om Shanti. Have a wonderful day ahead, everyone. See you.
Om
Om
Shanti.
Shanti. See you all
Thanks,
tomorrow morning at
sister.
5:30
You remind me of
a.m.
Sister Jana. Sister, you remind me of Sister Jana. I don't know, I think you are her student. Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, sister. It is very good conversation and good.
Thank
Om
you.
Shanti. Thank you, sir.
Enjoy your
Thank
day.
you.
Yes.
And thank you, sister.
Thank you, sister.
Om Shanti.